Hey loves, let's talk. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. I want to talk to you guys today about something that I just haven't discussed before, at least not here. I did mention being on a live with a fellow YouTuber yesterday, and I let some of these thoughts out, but I want to put them here because I want to know what you guys think about it. And I know that it's a very logical thought. And yes, while thinking about this thought, I am also going to keep in mind my combined timeline, where I put together everything in the PCA when it comes to where the car was, from the traffic cams, from what they were told about what happened in the house and when, and for the GPS cell phone data, okay? I am 99.9% sure that Bryan Kohberger is not the only person involved in this situation. And there is one main thing that makes me believe that. The timing. We have ex-FBI and the cops and everyone who's apparently involved in trying to figure out this case telling us that this one man went into this home and took out 4 people on 2 different floors of a 3-story house in the middle of the night, in the dark, with visual snow, with a single blade, and then vanished without a trace, technically, because this little touch DNA stuff on the sheath, that's the most unreliable DNA. That is one of the first things that I was taught, is the reliabilities of certain DNAs. And touch DNA is the most unreliable source. You could literally walk by someone at Walmart, okay? And your dead skin cells or a piece of your hair or just a biological dust particle of you could go onto them just as you're casually walking down the Cheerio aisle, and then an hour later, they could go and commit a crime. And with the motions and the movements that the body makes when doing things that are full of adrenaline and energy, things fall off the body. Your DNA could fall off another person into a crime scene. Did you know that? Because it can. So now that we've gotten that part out the way, let's discuss this little timeline they're giving us. They're giving us a handful of minutes for all these things to have happened. Let me ask you this. Does it make logical sense that Dylan and Bethany didn't hear or see anything? No. And we've learned all these months later that we've been lied to, that Bethany actually did see and hear at the time of the murders. So then let me ask you this question. Does it make logical sense that Ethan and Xana would hear Maddie and Kaylee being slashed to death upstairs with the dog barking and all the freaking out and the movements that 3 people would be making in a knife fight, and for them to just stay in their bedroom where their bodies were apparently found? It doesn't, does it? I highly doubt that if Xana was awake at 4:12 and on her TikTok, that she didn't hear scuffling above her head, screaming as the knives entered the bodies, and who knows the noises that the actual killer was making. So this is what I'm giving you as my theory on this. Why couldn't it have been more than one? One person on each floor, at the least, because it could be more, but one person at the least on each floor, attacking each floor at the same time. Wouldn't that make more sense if there was more than one person and there was somebody upstairs and somebody in the 2nd floor at the same time? These little handful of minutes does not equivalent to the following scenario. Killer gets into the house, goes into Maddie's room, kills Maddie. Kaylee hears something going on, walks across, goes into Maddie's room, finds the killer, then gets brutally attacked, then goes downstairs to find 2 more people that had like no idea that all those things were going on upstairs, and he was just able to kill them in their bedroom. They weren't out of the bedroom looking around for the noise or trying to call 911 because of what they were hearing upstairs. Come on, guys. It doesn't make any logical sense for this to have been a one-person event, because you can't just consider the fact that Dylan and Bethany didn't call 911. Xana and Ethan would have been second attack. But after the top floor had what happened to it happen, then they would have had to have just sat there the whole time, just waiting for the killer to show up in Xana's room. Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't. So if Xana and Ethan didn't hear things in enough time to be able to grab the phone and call 911, when we know from the cops that Xana's phone was active on TikTok at 4:12, does it not make more logical sense that there was someone attacking them on the 3rd and the 2nd floors at the exact same time? Multiple people involved? It just makes more logical sense to me, and I could be wrong, but I keep coming back to that, and I have thought that for a really long time. Which is honestly, whenever the WSU mom, Kim, came out with her story about how her daughter knew about all of these things that was going on after the fact, but before the cops got called, and how the whole town, a whole slew of people, knew about what was going on before the cops got called, and that also correlated to the fact that the cops told us the friends summoned people over. They told us in the press conferences several times the friends summoned, their word, people over to that house. Her story matches that. And her story contains the fact that there was multiple people inside the home at the time of the incident and someone waiting outside. And you know what else correlates to that? The fact that I found in intertwining the timelines that damn car was still driving around the neighborhood while the murders were taking place inside the house. And you know what else correlates to that? There being more than one person involved? Bryan Kohberger's very first thing that he apparently said was, "Has anyone else been arrested?" And yes, this question of verification of that statement has been asked several times, and while they are not confirming it, they're not denying it either, and verbiage in these cases matters. Why would someone who is being arrested while on vacation at his parents' home not ask, "Why are you arresting me?" instead of, "Has anyone else been arrested?" Ponder that for a little while. And also, when it comes to Bethany being called to testify, being called as a material witness, I'm not understanding why people are acting like she has every right to be fighting this because it's the defense that called her. What the hell does it matter if it was the defense or the prosecution? If she has information that can make sure that the person who killed the 4 people she has a nice new memorial tattoo for goes to jail, then her story wouldn't change, regardless of if it was the defense or the prosecution calling her in. So the real question is, why is she not adamant about making sure that Bryan Kohberger stays in jail? Answer that one.